Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Today's video is another transfer video, but before we get into that, if you could just hit that big red button down below. But without further ado, we have almost officially signed Jaka Bijol from Udinese in Serie A over in Italy. The Slovenian comes in to Leeds United for a rumoured fee of around 22 million euros. There was a lot of back and forth between the two clubs, but Leeds are going to end up paying around 18 to 19 million pounds for the signing of the 26-year-old. It has now been announced by Fabrizio Romano on Twitter, and Fabrizio Romano has only ever got one or two transfers wrong ever, apparently set to have his medical very, very soon. Now, I did make a video on Jaka Bijol the other day, and I kind of said that he was... Go and watch that video if you want more detail on statistics, the general kind of what player he is. But this video is going to be a little bit more of how he would actually fit into Leeds United's system now that we are going to get him. So the video the other day, in summary, I said a lot about how he was kind of a traditional stopper, more of a strong defensive aspect to his game. He's not massively slow, but he's not the most mobile defender, and he's also really, really good in the air. So more traditional centre-half, really. But what I said was that there were other players, other centre-backs out in Europe that we could possibly go and get. Even I know Andrea had said to me that Elvedi might be a better option in terms of his ball-playing abilities. And I think in the video I suggested that we could kind of try to go for the best of both worlds with somebody who's a real aerial threat, but somebody who is also able to play with the ball as well. Now, Jaka Bijol isn't unable to play with the ball at all, but he does tend to send the ball long under pressure situations, which you're going to be in a lot of in the Premier League. Now, the reason that this worked a little bit better at Udinese is because they had a 6'5" or 6'8", I think maybe the centre forward that they have. He's able to bring the ball down and bring people in around him. We've just signed Lucas Nemecha, and we've also have Joel Peru, both of which are not... I mean, Nemecha's not bad in the air, but he's not going to be our starting forward, and he's not going to be able to bring down every ball that is sent long by somebody like Jaka Bijol. So maybe he will get used to playing in a team that has to play out from the back a little bit more. But the kind of aspect that I wanted to develop and kind of have a look at in today's video is the fact that Jaka Bijol is right-footed and is a right-footed centre-back. Now, obviously, we only signed Joe Rodon for £10 million at the start of last season, and I wouldn't imagine that Daniel Farke would be looking to replace a stalwart of that team. Joe Rodon, who's probably, I think, a similar age to Jaka Bijol, this suggests to me that it might be a slight change of tactic, with Leeds looking at playing three at the back. Now, in pre-season last season, I did a bit of analysis on how Leeds could go to play a three at the back and why in certain games that would work. But he didn't really implement it throughout last season. And I think that might have been because it was almost a little bit of a preparation for the Premier League and going up the next season. So that's what we're going to have a little look at today. So if you follow me over to the tactics board. So if you have a little look at the tactics board here, the way that we've set it up is that Leeds would have a three at the back. Now, that might be that Jaka Bijol would play centrally there, or it might be that Joe Rodon would play centrally there. But either way, the two right-footed centre-halves, if they're going to play together, I would imagine that they would play in a situation like this, with potentially Pascal Struijk coming in at this left-hand side position, or somebody like Ethan Ampadu, who we know can play on both sides as well. But the reason why I kind of want to talk about this is that Leeds are aiming to be a passing side in the Premier League and aiming to continue their kind of ability to play out from the back. Now, in the Premier League, that could be a risky business for a team who aren't necessarily the best equipped to deal with those situations. So what we're going to have a little look at is why three at the back can really help you out when you're trying to be a ball possession side in a team and in a league where you are going to be one of the worst sides, and that's kind of just the reality of it. So let's say that our goalkeeper, whoever that might be by the time the season starts, has the ball here. Usually, if you had two centre-backs, they might split a little bit like this, and our full-backs would go high and wide, which is what we've seen a lot of the time before with these situations here. But if you have a team that are willing to press and willing to come into these situations, if you do play the ball in there, there can be times where you are forced to just get the ball and send it long because there are no options. But if you are to have a 3 at the back situation, let's just reset this here. If you are to have a 3 at the back situation, you're allowed to have one split wide a little bit like that and one go in the center there, so that you've got multiple passing options. So even if they try to crowd this side when somebody like this has the ball, you've also got this player here who can actually just drop off a little bit into his own box, receive the ball. Then you might have a midfielder come short, get the ball there, turn, play it out. The idea being that you will always have an extra man in that defense. Now, this is a way of playing that will obviously help a team with not a fantastic kind of ability to play out from the back if they're playing against a high press from a really good side, say for example Liverpool. What this allows you to do is just to have a little bit more security. Now, you may be thinking, well, hold on a second, what about in terms of our lack of options then when playing forward? So when you look at this, if you have 3 at the back, you're obviously going to lose out on a player. So in this situation, that might be the number 10. So we might not be playing with the number 10 in this game. And you might also think, well, hold on a second, aren't we going to get outnumbered in midfield then if we've just got 2 in there? And let's say, for example, this is Liverpool and they've got 3 in midfield playing a 4-3-3. You would think that, but I think what the option would be for a team like Leeds is to have the inverted fullbacks actually come into the midfield and act as a third midfielder. So let's say that Leeds were aiming to play the ball out here to the wing. Let's say that this was, at the moment, Junior Firpo's still at the club, so let's say that this was Firpo. You might actually have Ampadu and Tanaka tuck into this midfield, and you might see that Jayden Bogle will actually tuck inside as well to act as another midfielder. And the reason for this being, if Leeds try to play the ball down the line here, but let's say Van Dijk comes out and cuts the ball off, he plays it down to Jeremy Frimpong, and when they try to play back into the midfield that's a player, not a ball. When they try to play the ball back into midfield to then counter-attack against Leeds will still have the numbers in the rest defence, having 3 in midfield to be able to do that. You might say, well, okay, well, what if they switch the ball and we've got no fullback out wide? If they switch the ball out here, because you've then got 3 at the back, you have then got the option for these players to actually tuck across whilst this fullback comes and gets back in his position. The idea being that you have to move back to your position or pass on a man to be able to cover all the situations that might arise. It's zonal marking and it's an ability to have a rest defence that works for you. And I do think that having a system like this, so let's say that Leeds were playing in this system, it would actually be a 3-4-3. And that way, Daniel Farke is having one of the most important things of his system still included, which is that you've still got the wingers here. So let's say that Jayden Bogle is attacking down this side. You've actually got that ability there for the winger to still be in play, to still come into these half spaces here, and for the forwards and everything to get forward as well. So you still have most of your options. You just may lack a little bit of creativity in that number 10 role. But if you've got players like a Ramazani, like a Nonto, whoever is playing out on that wing, and they've got that creative ability to cut inside and play those passes and make those runs into the box, you've still got a chance to go up the pitch and score. So whilst the other day it may seem a little bit like I was a bit doom and gloom on the Jaka Bijol signing, I do think that it gives us a different option. It opens us up to be able to play a 3 at the back, which could solidify us in a lot of Premier League games, and we have to be more pragmatic this season. Daniel Farke himself, I think, has said that he is basically looking at a way to concede less goals when in the Premier League, and I think playing 3 at the back at times, not every single game, but being able to have that versatility to go, okay, let's take a midfielder off, let's bring on Strauch, move Jaka Bijol over to the right, have Rodon in the centre, and then you have a back 3 then that can be a little bit more defensive and a little bit more savvy when being counter-attacked against. So that's what I think the way that Leeds might play with Jaka Bijol. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Like I said, Fabrizio Romano has now said that it will be announced very, very shortly. So let's look forward to signing Jaka Bijol, and then look forward to all the other signings that are coming our way, hopefully, as well. Thanks for watching Leeds lately. Let me know know what you think of this video down in the comments below. Hit a like if you enjoyed it. Go ahead and check out all the links in the description as well. The Leeds Creator Cup is fast approaching, the 20th of July at the John Charles Centre for Sport, all for a great cause in Prostate Cancer UK, and a big game of football where you'll get to see idiots like me who claim to know about football actually be able to play, and hopefully it doesn't go too horrendously for me. Anyway, thanks for watching Leeds Lately, and I'll see you in the next one.